Ladies and gentlemen, for centuries the greatest minds who ever lived have whispered about a secret, a timeless power hidden in plain sight. It has built empires, forged legends, and transformed ordinary people into extraordinary successes. Yet most of the world walks past it every single day, unaware that this very secret could change everything: their wealth, their peace, their destiny. Today, you're going to hear what that secret truly is. And once you understand it, you will never see your life the same way again. When a person begins to grasp this eternal principle, something remarkable happens. Life, which once seemed uncertain and chaotic, begins to take on order and meaning. Events that once appeared random start to align with purpose. It's as if unseen hands begin arranging circumstances in favor of the one who dares to think clearly and persistently. But it isn't magic, it's law. The law that whatever we steadily hold in our minds must, sooner or later, be drawn into our experience. The man who holds thoughts of success, who fills his mind with images of achievement, courage, and progress, begins to behave differently. His walk changes, his eyes take on focus, his words carry conviction. People around him begin to feel his quiet confidence, and opportunities naturally gravitate toward him. The same wind blows on us all, but he adjusts his sails with purpose, while others drift aimlessly, wondering why they never seem to arrive. The secret is not in the stars, not in fate, but in ourselves. We are the sculptors of our own lives, shaping our futures with every thought we allow to dominate our minds. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is often as small as the difference between faith and doubt, between acting and hesitating, between believing and wishing. The successful person is not blessed with more talent or fortune, only a clear understanding of the power of his own thoughts. Most people underestimate the creative force of their own minds. They fill their days with idle chatter, their minds with worry, and their hearts with fear, then wonder why their lives are filled with struggle. But those who master their thinking live differently. They start each day with a clear purpose, setting the tone for their thoughts before the world has a chance to impose its distractions. They do not wait for motivation, they generate it from within. If a person would take just 30 minutes each morning to visualize what he truly wants, to think of it in detail, to imagine himself already in possession of it, to feel gratitude as though it were already his, he would set into motion forces beyond comprehension. The mind begins to attract ideas, insights, and actions that align with that vision. This is not wishful thinking. It is the natural operation of the law of cause and effect. The dominant thought produces a corresponding reality. The great builders of civilization understood this truth instinctively. They did not see limitations, they saw possibilities. Where others saw barren land, they envisioned cities. Where others saw failure, they saw stepping stones. The difference was never in the circumstances. It was always in the perception. They trained their minds to see what could be, not merely what was. That is the ancient secret in action, seeing beyond the present into the potential and holding that vision until it becomes fact. Success, when stripped of its glamour, is simply the result of sustained thought directed toward a definite goal. There are no shortcuts, no hidden passages, no easy roads. The person who holds a goal in his mind, works at it daily, and refuses to quit is bound to achieve it. The time it takes is irrelevant. The law is absolute. Persistence backed by faith is irresistible. Every day spent in alignment with one's purpose compounds silently until one day the world calls it success. When a person begins to apply this principle, small victories appear. A new opportunity arises. A solution presents itself. A stranger offers help. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. They are the visible signs of an inner alignment between thought and action. As the mind focuses, the path clears. As belief deepens, resistance weakens, and soon what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. But understanding the law is not enough. It must be lived. The ancient secret rewards action, not mere curiosity. The person who only thinks about success but never moves his feet toward it will remain a dreamer. Thought is the blueprint. Action is the construction. Both must work together. A builder who draws plans but never lays bricks builds nothing. so too must we translate vision into deeds, and deeds into habit, until success becomes a way of life rather than a distant hope. The world today is filled with distractions, pulling the mind in every direction. But the man who disciplines his thoughts becomes a master of time, for he uses his hours with purpose. He understands that every minute spent in fear or worry is a minute stolen from creation. He refuses to feed his doubts, knowing that what he focuses on expands. Instead, he fills his mind with the picture of his goal so vividly that no external circumstance can shake it. Every invention, every advancement of mankind began as an idea held in a single mind. The first wheel, the first ship, the first machine, all were born not in the hands, but in the thoughts of men who dared to believe that what was unseen could one day be seen. They did not let ridicule, failure, or delay discourage them. They knew that the mind, once fixed upon a purpose, would eventually find the way, and it always does. To live by this principle is to take full responsibility for one's life. It means no longer blaming others, circumstances, or the past. It means standing tall and saying, I am the cause of what I experience, and therefore I am also the solution. This is a frightening thought for some, but it is also the most liberating. Once you accept full responsibility, you also claim full power, the power to think differently, act differently, and create differently. Many seek change in the world without first changing themselves, but the ancient secret works in the opposite direction. Inner change always precedes outer change. The person who desires wealth must first cultivate the mindset of abundance. The person who seeks peace must first still the turmoil within. The person who wants respect must first learn to respect himself. Life does not give what we want, it gives what we are. When the mind and heart are aligned with a clear purpose, the entire universe seems to conspire in favor of that purpose. The right people appear, the right circumstances emerge, and challenges transform into stepping stones. It is as if the world itself responds to the energy of conviction, and indeed it does. For every thought carries a frequency, and that frequency attracts its match. A mind vibrating with faith and gratitude cannot dwell long in failure. Those who live by this truth develop a calm assurance that nothing can shake. They no longer chase success frantically, they attract it quietly. Their power lies not in struggle, but in understanding. They have learned that life gives more to those who give more of themselves, more effort, more discipline, more persistence. They realize that mediocrity is the natural state of the untrained mind, and excellence is simply the result of a trained one. To practice this secret daily requires patience. You cannot plant a seed today and demand a harvest tomorrow. The universe does not operate on impatience. It rewards consistency, faith, and quiet perseverance. The farmer who plants in spring does not dig up his seeds to check their progress. He waters them, tends to them, and waits. And when the season turns, the harvest always comes. So too with our dreams. Every day that you think about your goal with faith, every day that you act in alignment with it, you are watering your seed. You may not see growth immediately, but it is happening beneath the surface. The soil of your mind is working, attracting, aligning, building, unseen but certain. The day will come when what you once imagined will stand before you, as real as the air you breathe. And then you will understand that success was never about luck. It was always about law. The beauty of this principle is that it works for all, regardless of background, education, or circumstance. The mind makes no distinction between rich or poor, young or old. It simply reflects what is impressed upon it. That is why two people, given the same opportunities, produce completely different outcomes. One rises, the other stagnates. The difference lies not in opportunity, but in attitude, not in chance, but in choice. Every great life begins with a decision to think differently. From that single decision, habits are born. From habits, character forms. And from character, destiny unfolds. The ancient secret is not something to be learned once and forgotten. It is a way of living, a discipline of the mind. It demands that you become aware of every thought you entertain, for every thought carries creative power. Guard your mind as you would guard your greatest treasure, for it is one. Feed it with wisdom, nourish it with gratitude, and direct it with purpose. Do not allow gossip, fear, or envy to take root. These are weeds that choke the growth of success. Instead, cultivate patience, courage, and belief. These are the seeds that yield abundance. As the days turn into weeks and weeks into months, the power of your dominant thoughts becomes visible. Your conversations change. Your surroundings shift. Your very posture reflects the confidence of one who knows where he is going. The world may not yet see the vision you hold, but it doesn't matter. The law is working, and soon they will. The ancient secret behind all lasting success has never been hidden. It waits patiently for anyone willing to think deeply, believe boldly, and act persistently. It has been written in the stars, carved into scripture, echoed in philosophy, and proven in the lives of every man and woman who ever achieved greatness. It is as close as your next thought, as powerful as your next decision, and as certain as the sunrise. The true test of this ancient principle comes when life does not go according to plan. It's easy to think positively when everything is unfolding smoothly, but the measure of one's mastery lies in the moments of uncertainty, when progress seems invisible and when the world appears to stand in opposition. It is in those moments that most abandon their dreams, believing the law has failed them. Yet it never fails. Only their faith does. The soil has not refused the seed. The farmer has simply stopped tending to it too soon. There will always come a period of silence between the planting and the harvest. This is the testing ground of faith. The person who endures this silence with patience and confidence will always be rewarded. The one who gives up in doubt forfeits everything. Every successful life has endured this quiet season, a time when nothing seems to happen, when the vision feels distant and the results invisible. But beneath the surface, unseen roots are forming, foundations are being laid, and the very circumstances required for success are aligning in perfect order. The universe does not rush, it operates. By timeless law. Every dream demands its gestation period. You cannot force the sunrise, but you can prepare for its arrival. So it is with success. Keep your vision clear, your action steady, and your heart calm. Those who can wait with faith will see what they believed. The secret also reveals another truth, that we are never rewarded for wishing, but always for working in harmony with our beliefs. To think correctly is only half the task. To act courageously completes it. Thought without action is like a bow without an arrow. The ancient builders of greatness did not merely think. They acted consistently and decisively, even when they could not see the full path ahead. They trusted that if they kept moving, the way would reveal itself. And it always does, one step at a time. The mind and body are partners in creation. The mind conceives, the body executes. When both move in unison toward a definite goal, nothing can prevent the result. But when the mind doubts while the body hesitates, progress halts. To succeed, you must bring thought, emotion, and action into alignment. What you think, you must feel. What you feel, you must act upon. The power lies in unity, not in scattered desire, but in disciplined direction. Every great achievement begins as a single dominant idea, one idea held with such conviction that it overrides fear and resistance. It becomes a living force, shaping perception, guiding behavior, and influencing every decision. The person who allows such an idea to take root becomes unstoppable. He no longer asks, "Can I?" but instead declares, "I will." That shift in thought transforms everything. Doubt paralyzes, but conviction ignites movement, and once movement begins, the law of momentum carries it forward. Consider how the smallest stream carves its way through mountains, not through power, but persistence. Drop by drop, it shapes stone. So too does persistent thought shape destiny. The man who thinks with discipline and consistency will achieve what seems impossible to those who think only occasionally or carelessly. The difference is not intelligence or talent, it is focus. The stream does not ask permission, it simply keeps flowing. To live by this secret is to live deliberately. Most people allow their minds to wander wherever the world directs it. They consume whatever thoughts are fed to them by the news, by others' opinions, by fear. But the one who understands this law guards his mind like a fortress. He decides what enters and what stays. He does not surrender his mental real estate to negativity. He chooses thoughts of strength, gratitude, progress, and courage, and these thoughts build the foundation of his success. Each morning is an opportunity to recommit to this way of thinking. The day begins not when the sun rises, but when your mind awakens to purpose. If you begin your day with gratitude and intention, you set a powerful rhythm that echoes through every hour. If you allow doubt to take control, your day drifts into chaos. The morning mind sets the course for the entire day, and the disciplined thinker knows this well. He takes a few quiet moments each morning to shape his thoughts before the world shapes them for him. There is a quiet dignity in those who live by this understanding. They are not easily shaken by temporary failure or discouraged by criticism. They know that every obstacle is part of the process. What seems like opposition is often guidance, steering them toward refinement and strength. They have learned to welcome difficulty, for they know that success grows in the soil of struggle. The harder the challenge, the greater the reward. The ancient law teaches that every cause produces a corresponding effect. If we desire greater rewards, we must become the cause of them. This means improving our thoughts, our habits, and our actions until they align with the results we want. To attract abundance, we must think abundantly. To attract respect, we must act with integrity. To attract opportunity, we must prepare ourselves for it. The law does not respond to words. It responds to vibration, to the frequency of our being. We cannot pretend our way to success. We must become the person capable of it. And that transformation begins within. It begins with awareness, recognizing the thoughts we entertain, the beliefs we hold, the emotions we allow. Most people live unaware of the mental patterns that govern them. They repeat the same thoughts daily, unaware that those thoughts quietly sculpt their reality. But awareness changes everything. Once you see that your thoughts are the architects of your destiny, you begin to choose them carefully, the way an artist chooses colors for his masterpiece. There will be times when fear tries to reclaim its hold, when uncertainty whispers that the dream is too big, too far, too unrealistic, but those are illusions, shadows cast by the mind's hesitation. Fear cannot survive in the presence of faith. To overcome fear, act. Movement dissolves doubt. Every small action in the direction of your goal weakens the hold of hesitation and strengthens the muscle of confidence. You do not need to see the entire path. You only need to take the next step. As you persist, a quiet inner power begins to grow. You start to realize that the universe is not against you. It is responding to you. It mirrors your consistency, your attitude, your focus. When you think success, speak success, and act with success in mind, the world begins to organize itself around that image. People call it coincidence, but those who know this secret understand it is law in operation, the natural consequence of thought and belief made visible. There is a remarkable shift that occurs when a person no longer lives by reaction but by design. He ceases to be a wanderer in his own life and becomes the creator of it. He stops waiting for the right conditions and starts producing them. He stops chasing opportunity and begins attracting it. He stops asking for permission to succeed and begins to act as though success were inevitable. That posture of certainty, that quiet assurance, becomes magnetic. It draws the best of life toward him. Those who master this way of living walk through life with a calm steadiness. They may face storms, but they are not shaken by them. They have learned that every difficulty carries within it the seed of equal or greater benefit, if only one looks for it. They do not see failure as final, but as feedback, a teacher guiding them toward refinement. And so, rather than despairing, they grow wiser, stronger, more resilient with each challenge. To think clearly, to believe deeply, and to act consistently, this is the formula that transforms lives. It is not new, it is eternal. It has built empires, shaped destinies, and turned ordinary men into legends. It is as available now as it was in the days of the ancients. The only question is whether one will use it or not. Most people hear such truths and nod in agreement, yet change nothing. They admire the principle but never apply it. They expect transformation without discipline, reward without persistence, growth without discomfort. But the universe does not bend to admiration, it bends to effort. The one who applies the law daily, even imperfectly, will see more progress than the one who only dreams of it perfectly. Action refines understanding. Each attempt, whether successful or not, strengthens belief. There is no limit to what a person can become when he accepts full responsibility for his thoughts and actions. The past loses its grip and the future opens wide. Life begins to respond differently because the person himself has changed. The outer world always mirrors the inner one. When the mind becomes calm, clear, and confident, circumstances begin to reflect the same order. The ancient secret behind all lasting success is not hidden in mystery. It is revealed in every thought, proven in every action, and confirmed in every result. The mind, when disciplined and directed toward a clear purpose, becomes a creative force that shapes the invisible into the visible, the imagined into the real, the dream into the destiny. Once a person understands this truth fully, that his mind is the architect of his destiny, life transforms from confusion into clarity. He no longer sees himself as a product of circumstance, but as the producer of it. He begins to live intentionally, molding each day with thought and purpose, as a sculptor molds clay. What once felt random now feels deliberate. What once felt uncertain now feels governed by a quiet and unwavering law. It is a realization that separates the wanderer from the creator, the follower from the builder, the dreamer from the doer. Every new thought carries a potential world within it, yet most people never give their thoughts the attention or respect they deserve. They allow worry and trivial distractions to occupy the same space where great ideas could have been born. The one who masters this secret learns to guard his thoughts like sacred treasures. He knows that every great achievement begins with a single disciplined idea, an idea that is held, nourished, and protected from the corrosive influence of doubt. For doubt is the enemy of creation, and faith is its silent ally. The person who dares to think big, to imagine without limits, steps onto sacred ground, for he aligns himself with the same creative intelligence that shaped the stars and governs the tides. There is no limit to what such a mind can conceive, provided it remains steadfast and disciplined. Yet the tragedy of most lives is not that they aim too high and miss, but that they aim too low and hit. The ancient principle rewards those who think boldly, for bold thought carries the energy of belief, and belief is the seed from which all progress grows. Those who live by this law are not immune to hardship, but they interpret it differently. Where others see a setback, they see instruction. Where others despair, they reflect. They understand that life is always teaching, always refining, always shaping the soul for greater capacity. Each trial strengthens the mind that refuses to yield. Each challenge adds depth to one's character. The person who endures difficulty with patience is being prepared for something greater than comfort. He is being prepared for mastery. It is easy to be faithful when the path is clear, but greatness is forged in the unseen. The mind that can hold a steady vision in the darkness is the mind that commands the dawn. Every great accomplishment in history was born during times of uncertainty. The build. Er does not wait for perfect weather to begin construction. He begins, trusting that the foundation will hold when the storms arrive. And so must we build our dreams with that same quiet certainty, knowing that strength grows in the act of persistence. Every man carries within him two selves, one ruled by fear and one guided by faith. The fearful self clings to safety, resists change, and shrinks from risk. The faithful self steps forward into the unknown, believing that the path will unfold as he walks it. The outcome of a life depends on which self he chooses to obey. The law responds only to faith. It cannot be activated by hesitation. When belief is weak, results are delayed. When belief is strong, life moves swiftly to meet it. There is immense power in consistency. A single drop of water falling upon stone does little, but that same drop, falling continuously over time, can carve a canyon. So too does repeated thought, backed by daily action, shape the course of destiny. The one who disciplines himself to think and act in alignment with his vision each day will find that time becomes his ally. For while most waste their days in scattered effort, he compounds his days in focused creation. Success, like erosion, is slow but certain when persistence is applied. To live by this understanding requires self-awareness, the ability to step back and observe one's thoughts. The average person drifts from one emotion to another, one idea to another, unaware that his mind is running unchecked. But those who practice awareness learn to catch themselves in moments of negativity. They replace doubt with vision, fear with gratitude, and complaint with intention. This mental discipline, though invisible to others, creates visible results. It transforms chaos into order, confusion into purpose, and frustration into focus. Every thought we entertain impresses itself upon our subconscious mind, which then acts relentlessly to manifest that thought in our outer world. The subconscious is a faithful servant. It does not question, it does not argue. It simply obeys the nature of the commands it receives. If we feed it fear, it will build barriers. If we feed it faith, it will open doors. Therefore, to control our outer life, we must first govern the thoughts that shape our inner one. The mind must be trained as an athlete trains his body, through daily repetition and unwavering commitment. The person who understands this does not waste his time comparing himself with others. He knows that each mind is its own universe, each path its own journey. Envy and jealousy lose all power over him, for he realizes that no two gardens grow the same flowers. His only concern is tending to his own soil, planting good seeds, pulling weeds, and nurturing growth. In doing so, he becomes a source of quiet strength, admired not for what he possesses, but for the calm assurance that radiates from his being. There is a law of correspondence that states, "As within, so without." Whatever dominates the inner world must eventually shape the outer. This is not superstition, but natural law. A person who cultivates serenity within will find peace in his surroundings. A person who nurtures gratitude will attract abundance. A person who lives with fear will encounter endless reasons to confirm it. The world simply reflects what we project. When we change the lens through which we see life, the landscape itself begins to change. Every moment of the day we are creating, consciously or unconsciously. The thoughts we repeat become our beliefs, and our beliefs become our experiences. The wise person takes control of this process. He becomes the author of his own narrative, writing it line by line through intention and awareness. He refuses to let chance or habit dictate his story. Instead, he chooses every thought carefully, knowing that today's thinking shapes tomorrow's world. One of the greatest tests of this principle is patience. The human mind, accustomed to speed and instant gratification, resists the quiet rhythm of nature. But the laws of success, like the laws of growth, do not operate on impulse. They unfold in divine timing. The tree that grows fastest often breaks first. The one that grows slowly endures for centuries. So it is with achievement. The person who rushes after success exhausts himself and loses focus. The one who builds slowly, thoughtfully, and steadily builds something that will last. The ancient law rewards those who learn the art of quiet persistence. It favors those who do not quit, who rise each day with renewed determination, even when progress is invisible. The moment you decide that failure is not an option, the universe begins to rearrange itself in your favor. The doors that once seemed locked begin to open, not because they have changed, but because you have. The key has always been within, the shift in belief that transforms limitation into opportunity. It is also important to understand that success is not a destination, but a state of being. It is not something we arrive at, it is something we become. True success is not found in possessions, but in the peace and power that come from living in harmony with this law. When your thoughts, words, and actions are aligned with purpose, you experience a quiet confidence that no external reward can match. You cease to chase success, and instead, success begins to chase you. As one continues to live by this principle, the distinction between effort and ease begins to fade. Work becomes joy. Challenges become games and obstacles become teachers. Life flows instead of resists. The mind that was once clouded with worry becomes clear and creative. The heart that once trembled with uncertainty beats with calm assurance. And though others may not understand this transformation, they feel it. There is something magnetic about a person who has mastered himself, a presence that speaks louder than words. The secret does not change. It is we who must change to meet it. Each day is a new opportunity to practice it, to test it, to live it. Every thought is a tool, every action a brushstroke on the canvas of our destiny. Whether we paint chaos or beauty depends entirely on what we hold in the mind and what we believe about ourselves. The moment we decide to think differently, our world begins to shift. Accordingly, for thought is the blueprint of all creation. And so life becomes an extraordinary journey of awareness, the unfolding of inner truth into outer experience. The power that built civilizations, that raised monuments, that carried explorers across oceans and dreamers beyond the stars, still resides within every one of us. It waits, patient and unchanging, for the moment we dare to use it, the moment we decide to think with intention, believe without wavering, and act with purpose until thought becomes form and vision becomes reality.